Hi again all. This time I'm going to do a video on my top 5 favorite multi-tools. So I'll just get right into it. We have the Gerber MP400, Swiss Tool Spirit X, Victorinox Explorer Plus, Victorinox Work Champ, and SOG Powerlock. Okay, so starting with the Gerber MP400, the reason I picked this one for one of my top 5 is it's a great overall value. It's got the quickest deploying pliers. It's that quick, and once you get some practice, it's quick to close them too. So those are kind of fun to play with too. The wire cutters are also very good. You might see in my other video for the wire cutter performance. They did really well, especially considering the size. They did everything pretty well. Another thing I like about it is the bit adapter. You can buy this separately, but basically it's got a square hole that fits the square shank of the Phillips, and in the middle it's got a neodymium magnet, and on the other side it's got a 1/4-inch hex drive. So you just slip that over the Phillips, it sticks on there with a strong magnet, and then you put your bit of choice in there and you've got a great little bit driver. And that bit kit comes with 3 different sizes of metric hex. This one that's in there now is a 6mm, this one's a 4, and I think this one's a 2, 3. So we got 3, 4, and 6mm hex that come with that little bit kit. Those are useful sizes. And then we've got number 3 and number 1 Phillips, which are added, a spare number 2, because you've got the number 2 on there already, and then these are mostly duplicates of the flathead, so you could plan on just taking those out and maybe getting some more metric hex or some Torx or whatever you need. But that bit driver is pure gold. Just simple, well executed. It just does exactly what it's supposed to do without taking a lot of money. The number 2 Phillips itself is also great. You can't take that for granted, really. Like the SOG one is more like a number 1, and it kind of, if you use it for heavy duty stuff, it breaks off. This one is great. Also about this one is that it's got a great scissors. Fiskars owns Gerber now, so you might expect that, but it's got a great scissors, and that's a nice rugged wire spring too, not a fragile leaf spring. The price is also great. Right now, as I do this video, these are about $26 on Amazon, so that's awesome too. And then you can probably see here, they're US made. Awesome, way to go, Gerber. If I were to pick out some down points, there's no file or saw. Now you probably could mod it in there if you wanted to. Last thing I wanted to mention is the blade. It's a combo blade, which I think is good to have because a lot of people don't take care of their plain edge blades. So that'll pretty much always be sharp. And what's nice about this particular combo blade is that it's got a double grind on the plain edge part instead of having that crappy chisel grind that they stick you with a lot of times when you get a combo blade. So that's actually a really good blade. So there we have the Gerber MP400. Next on the list is the Victorinox Swiss Tool Spirit X. This is just a really beautiful tool. All the outside tools are accessible. All the tools are really good. It's got the class-leading fit and finish. When you open it up, it's got kind of a curve on the plier handle, so that even though it's a butterfly opening design, it's very comfortable in the hand. And it's also got something I wanted to mention. It's got this cable tool that nobody else has. This is kind of a great multi-purpose tool here. It's kind of a chisel on the front, so like, for push cutting wood. They got this corner sharpened here, and you can use that to kind of slit down a cable jacket, which is nice. And then when you want to cut around the cable jacket to remove it, you have this big scallop cutter here. And then down at the bottom we've got the wire stripping notch. All of those things work great. So you got 1, 2, four tools in one, and they're all pretty useful. It's not like some of the tools you get are you kind of reaching for use. And all the tools are just really good quality too. Just like you would expect from someone who's been making multi-tools for so long. And everything's just like not only good quality but good execution too. The Phillips, the number 2 Phillips, is long enough. It's got a long enough shank. It fits the heads right. The locks here, for example, are ambidextrous. So if you like to close things one-handed, you can do it whether you're right-handed or left-handed, or you can just pull them both down and close it. I like to do it that way. So just a great all-around tool, great fit and finish. Not the cheapest one, they go for about $100, but definitely has earned its place as one of my favorites. And you can see I like the Victorinox quality. 3 out of my top 5 are Victorinox. Alright, next is the Explorer Plus. I really like this one. It's just got all the tools that I would use on an everyday basis, and nothing that I don't really use. So I won't go over them all individually, but I'll hit a couple of highlights. The full-size Victorinox scissors, everybody likes these. If I could come up with one weak point, that leaf spring is kind of a weak point. It lasts well enough, but sometimes you'll catch it on something and bend it, or eventually it'll break. But the scissors themselves are great. Sharp, and they just work great. Having a small blade is nice. It's the only one in my collection here that of top 5 multi-tools that has a small blade. So I find myself using that like probably 80 to 90% of the time, just general utility work. And then I hold back the big blade for food prep and maybe as a spare sometimes. Magnifier is useful sometimes, and you don't find it in a multi-tool this small that often. And then we've got the Plus tools, which none of these other ones have. So it's got a pressurized ballpoint pen. I don't know how many times I forget to have a pen on me. It's got the micro screwdriver, eyeglass screwdriver, and then a pin that's hiding behind the corkscrew. So if you combine that pin with the tweezers and the magnifier, you have an easy time getting any splinter out that you pick up. And it's pocket size too, It's on the large size for pocket size, but it's definitely doable, and you get used to it pretty quickly. Next is the Victorinox Work Champ. Boy, this is it's kind of a good alternative. It's about the same bulk as a full-size multi-tool. Same bulk, same weight as a full-size multi-tool, but it's got kind of different strengths. Instead of having a really big pliers and a big wire cutter and everything as being the focus is just that everything is so handy. Everything is outside accessible except for the Phillips. It's got that great side lock blade that I like from Victorinox. It's push down on that lever with your finger and then close it. So a nice big blade with the side lock. It's got a great precision pliers. Actually, I'll get into that later. It's got, of all these tools here that I've got here, it's got the best file, the best saw, and ties with the other Victorinox for the best scissors, because that's the same one as on the Explorer. And you've got a good usable flathead. That's, I use that for most flatheads. So just a great, and then it feels great in the hand too. It's not too big, not too small. It's pocket carryable. That's kind of pushing it. It's thick enough tool stack wise that it sits flat in your pocket against your leg here, instead of kind of rolling around like the Explorer does sometimes. But that's a great all-around multi-tool. If you don't find yourself needing a big, like a full-size pliers all the time, you've got a precision pliers here, but then you've got all the convenience and all the best tools in the from the Swiss Army knife options. Last but not least is the SOG Powerlock. I think this is my favorite full-size multi-tool. It's one-handed opening, just like the Gerber. It's not quite as fast. It takes a little more practice to get it right, but it's kind of a butterfly style opening. The interior tools are not quite as good, I think, as the Gerber or the Victorinox, but they get the job done. Like, for example, the saw teeth are a little on the coarse side. They have a lot of tool clumping, and that's kind of a side effect of being adaptable here. I'm not a big fan of the V-cutter. I thought I would like it a lot, but I don't really find myself using it a lot. Of all the multi-tools here, this has got the best plier head, I think. Not only is it got compound leverage, so it grips a lot stronger than the others, but it's got a nice big wire cutter. Look at the size of that wire cutter compared to, for example, a Spirit. That's easily twice as big of a wire cutter. So, and then combine that with the compound leverage and the close tolerance of it, and it just easily cuts through any kind of wire you can imagine. Check my wire cutter comparison video for to see that in action. Another thing I like about it is it's user customizable, and it's designed to be user customizable. It just has Allen screws here. You take these out and you can swap tools. So, for example, I said I'm not a big fan of the V-cutter, so I'll just get the SOG scissors and put them in there instead. And some people not a fan of a combo blade, especially one with a chisel grind, which means it's ground down for sharpening only on one side. You know, it's okay for slicing, but if you wanted to whittle something down and you're right-handed, that's kind of a problem. But no problem, I'll just order the SOG plain blade and swap it in there, and then I'll have this in reserve if I ever change my mind. Also, if you want something besides pliers, it takes a little longer to get to. You have to open it up, get the tool out, and then close the tool up. But one thing that's worth mentioning is, and especially when it comes to the blade, when you're getting the blade out, like if you have a Leatherman or something, it kind of snap, snap, snap as you're closing it, and that's at times that's a little scary. But with this, it's just one smooth action, so I think it's actually safer. It takes a little longer to get them out, so if it's not for the kind of person who's always in a rush. But anyway, there you have it, and it's also got a great crimper here. It's not really an afterthought crimper like you see a lot of times. Like, for example, you won't hear me criticize Victorinox too much, but that's kind of an afterthought crimper, wouldn't you say? You're not really going to get enough leverage with your thumb to crimp an electrical terminal with that. This one, on the other hand, it doesn't employ the compound leverage, but it's there, it's sized right, it's shaped right, and it's not an afterthought either. You can tell it was really designed in there from the start. And then the outside fit and finish is also really good on the Powerlock. Oh, I forgot to mention too, the one other thing that really I think sets it apart is this 1/4-inch socket driver. I lost a little retention spring for it, but this, just like on the MP400 and its great bit adapter, this adds a whole new dimension to it. You know, for example, I can just pop a 10mm on there and you know, go to work on my bike or whatever. I can throw this in the seat bag of my bike and, you know, pick 3 or 4 sockets are the size that I need, maybe an extension too. And you could do a lot with that. They're the only ones that have that. I think you can get a 1/4-inch hex to 1/4-inch socket adapter so that you could do the same thing with the Gerber, but that's not really designed in there. So there you have it, top 5 favorite multi-tools. Gerber MP400, Swiss Tool Spirit X, Victorinox Explorer Plus, Victorinox Work Champ, and SOG Powerlock. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think and what your top 5 are.